when you've been out of your house for, oh, God, 15 hours because you wanted to see Scream 7. And before you keep watching, spoiler alerts. And then 2, I understand that we were supposed to boycott this movie because of what happened to Melissa. And then Jenna was like, oh, you going to do that? Peace out as well. But also Jenna is a bigger star than Melissa. So I don't think Jenna Ortega's career is really going to be affected by doing so. We shall see. But whatever. And also, I didn't pay. I had a man pay. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Paramount and Spyglass. I'm gonna need you and Kevin, the original writer of the first Scream. Don't mess with my fucking horror knowledge. I am a fucking fanatic. It was aight. But what I don't like is that maybe I just watch too many fucking horror movies. I'm kind of like the geeky kid. Like, I'm like a black female version of Randy. I predicted there's 3 killers. 3 unalivers. Sorry, I know TikTok doesn't like the K word. So there's 3 unalivers. We're talking about a movie, TikTok. TikTok shop, blah, blah, blah. So there's 3 unalivers. The first one did not predict, obviously, because he was a rando. But y'all gave that shit away. Kevin, you gave it away. It was so easy. I'm talking about 40 minutes into the film. I was just like, really? And it's starting to become a little repetitive. It really is. I understand that is the appeal of horror movies, but for me, I like originality. And when the movie first came out, it was very original. Even the continuance of like stalking Sydney and blah, blah, blah. And I understand that Neve Campbell was like, hey, give me more money. I'm the fucking lead and I'm the final girl. So she didn't appear in 6. Blah, blah, blah. Nonetheless, I was able to predict the other Scream guys, the Ghostface. The 2 that ended up at the end of the movie. It was too fucking easy. It's like, you can't have some rando coming out of nowhere and breaking down this random storyline that connects. Also, there's a whole connecting to AI in it. So I did like that part that they talked about, like how people can basically like film themselves and make it look realistic and you have to run it through various filters. So in other words, the FBI and police need to get better at technology when it comes to people, because you can really like convince someone that someone is doing something that they're not. So I did like that aspect of the movie. Some things that were weird. Number one, if you are Sydney, Sydney, she should have never had kids. Because why would you have kids? That woman went through, 3 of the movies in which she did not have any kids. And then the 4th one, they touched on having a kid. She was in the 5th one. They touched about her having kids and all the rest of this stuff. But why would you have kids? Knowing that this thing became so popular, so fan based, and there were people constantly trying to like one up Stu and God, what the fuck was his name? Having a brain. Stu and the guy who played her boyfriend, the one that she ended up effing, and it ended up being one of the Michael Myers ones. So that was kind of ridiculous. And then she named the kid after Rose McGowan's character, the one that went up in the fucking garage. There were a lot of Easter eggs too. So if you are a person who points out Easter eggs, like the whole garage thing and blah, 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 and the husband, yada, yada, yada. Ton of fucking Easter eggs to the original because Kevin was the one who wrote the original. Wes Craven directed it, but Kevin wrote it. He wrote it in 3 days. Apparently it was something very magnifique. And I really do like the movie. I actually watched it the other night. But that was one. So okay, she had kids. Why would you not teach your kids how to kung fu fight? But then all of a sudden, when they get that fight or flight instinct, all of a sudden this skinny Caucasian girl can put a whole man or anyone who has like superhuman strength, because it seemed like everyone who plays Ghostface can take chairs to the face, they can get pew-pewed and get up in 2 seconds. Even if you wear a bulletproof vest, if somebody puts some rounds in you, you're not gonna pop up like fucking Jason and be like, here, I'm coming after you. Like, it don't make no sense. But of course it's a movie, so we're not gonna make it sense. But so the whole point is that the fact that she tried to shield her daughter and try to make such a normal life, and she didn't live in Fort Knox, like, you know what made sense? If you watch the Halloweens, and Jamie Lee Curtis and the way she lives when Karen is older and her daughter and all the rest of that shit, and this woman lives in like a fucking fortress. That's what I would expect Sydney to live in. All she had was a fucking project bolt lock and an alarm system. But somehow Ghostface still got in the house. And she had Ring cameras. She had Ring cameras. Apparently, they tapped into it. It was a whole entire fucking thing. That there were things that they touched on, but it didn't quite make sense. So the person who was after her was very technologically sound. So the fact that she shielded her daughter so much was to her daughter's detriment. And I have a feeling that they're going to keep on with the movies, and the daughter's going to be like, they're probably going to do something shocking in the 8-1, like either unalive her or unalive the fucking daughter. And the daughter's going to continue to franchise, as long as she doesn't speak up against anything political, because you know how that goes. So basically, that was one. So then, and then also what else? Wardrobe of that film. Neve Campbell is 52 years old. 52 years old. The shoes you guys had her in at the end of that movie did not make sense that she was running through the streets of Pine fucking California in. Those shoes had no laces. They had a heel. It was a chunky heel, don't get me wrong. And maybe some chicks can run long distance in chunky heels. I fucking doubt it. She is a 50. Okay, they didn't say her age in the movie, but she has a teenage daughter and she has adolescent children. They touched on that. So obviously she's in her mid-40s, or maybe she's playing the same age as herself, early 50s. You're trying to tell me this middle-aged pre or in the menopause woman was running in chunky heels through California? No. That was weird. And then also, I don't understand the superhuman strength of these Caucasian women in this fucking movie. Like I said, her daughter puts one of the unalivers through like a whole thing of shot glass. Yeah, right. This girl has been pampered, suburban, never had to fight in her whole entire life, and you're trying to say she was able to fucking NFL this person? Huh? It didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense. And then she doesn't know how to use a pew-pew. And it was so funny because the audience, it was at 14th Street Union Square. So it was a very mixed audience, and they were so interactive because one guy was in the back. He was like, because it was very graphic. It was a very graphic movie. And then it's really funny because like somebody was like, oh, it's a God, can I say this word? It's a GLOCK. And you could just point and pew pew. And me, knowing what I know, because I work in the industry, I was like, that's a Beretta. She has to take the safety off. And then she says it in the movie, and everybody was like, oh, and one guy was like, damn, shorty, you know about pew pews again? We're just going back and forth in the movie theater. And my friend is sitting there like he's looking at me like, you know about, I was like, yeah, I work in the industry. Of course I would know how to use. I have pew-pew safety courses that I have to take in order to, work in my thing. But anyway, so that was fun. But the movie was just too predictable. And it was too much. I feel like they were trying a little too hard. And they were really talking about, and I feel like also that was sort of like a jab at Hollywood when it came to the AI. Because if you remember the writer's strike 3 years ago, and it will probably come up again because of the whole AI thing. The one thing that they were talking about is that they're trying to utilize and have people sign away their images so they can continue to make money off of them via AI. That is a big fear with actors. And that was a big thing in the fucking movie. So I just think the movie could have been done better. I like that they tried to make it modern, but also it was very repetitive. Like it was very much a homage to the first movie. I understand this guy hasn't written a movie in quite a while. So that's why maybe he was just trying too hard to touch on the first one. But I mean, see it if you want to. He paid $5 for me. It's not a big fucking deal. It's 2 days, $5. But it could have been better. For me being a horror fan, I think it could have been better. I'm glad he didn't pay full price. But, and I don't think it mattered whether Melissa and Jenner were in it because they talk about New York, but how could you keep that story going? Like, the only way you can keep that going is if Melissa turns into Ghostface. But I don't know. I don't know why they would keep going. Like, Neve is old. And then also, maybe I'm just being too anal retentive, but Neve Campbell is a brunette. The guy who played her husband was a brunette. How you make a blonde daughter? That was strange. That was very, very fucking strange. And then it's also like, how does everybody keep getting Michael Myers and living through? The husband lives. Homeboy got eat in the garage. And he's up in there being able to take out a pocket K and like get his daughter loose with duct tape. It's just like I said, it was too, I know horror movies are unbelievable, but it was a little too predictable and unbelievable for my taste. That's just my taste. Okay, bye.